Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Good Morning Eastvale. My name is Molly Cortson, and I'm the city's communications officer. I'm so glad that you have continued to join in, or maybe this is your first time here, and I hope that you enjoyed this episode. But today I'm joined by Ning and Derek, and they both go to ERHS, and so I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then we're going to kick things off. So I'll start with you, Ning.
Hi, I'm Ning. I'm currently a senior at Roosevelt, and I serve as our Key Club's president for the year. Key Club is essentially the high school branch of Eastvale Kiwanis.
Mm-hmm. My name is Derek Zhang. I'm the youth president for Eastvale Kiwanis for this year. I'm currently a sophomore in high school. I attend the STEM program, and Kiwanis, like she said, very close partnership with Key Club, essentially sister organizations, if you would, but very nice.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I met both of them because we've been working on the Earth Day, outreach and everything. So I'm super excited for that coming up, and we'll talk more about that. But before we start, I wanted to talk about some fun get to know you questions. We used to do these in the end, but we're starting them in the beginning to give a little icebreaker. So, okay, I'm going to ask each of you the same question. I'll let whoever wants to answer first can answer first. But if you guys were mayor for the day, or if you were just the mayor,
Okay.
if you're the mayor, what would you do in the city?
For a day?
Or if you're just tonight you become the mayor,
Ooh.
what do you want to do with the city? What are your thoughts? What would you change? What would you add?
What would I add? I'm not sure what the progress is on the library, but I'd really go to bat for the library.
Okay, you would focus on ramping up the library
Definitely.
progress.
I really like the library, especially going out to school here. It gets a little bit crowded sometimes, but
Yeah. Are you a big reader?
I'm okay at reading, but I'm not really a big reader. I just like staying in the library.
Okay, you're I don't like to read the books, but I like to be there. I like the vibes.
Yeah, I like being there. It's a good place to be. It's a good place to be.
Okay, I'm a big reader, so I'm all for the library. I like to answer anything else.
As mayor, I don't know. I just probably buy a bunch of suits. I don't know.
Okay, so you're worried about the wardrobe situation.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, awesome. What about you?
I'm not too sure. I think, one thing that's coming to mind right now is, Hamner, that road that is closed off?
Okay.
That has been closed off for years.
Yeah.
And that came to mind right now because on my way over, I was stuck there for almost 10 minutes because of the traffic. So I was
Yeah.
I think it'd be nice to get that situated.
Yeah.
I think that's so real. I think everyone feels the same.
Yeah.
When I first started at the city 2.5 years ago, I was they were introducing me to this place, taking me on a tour, and I saw the traffic there, and I'm like, man, this is brutal. Hopefully this will be done soon. And here we are. So I like that. Anything else that you guys would do as the mayor?
I'd probably put lights on the stop signs.
Okay,
Yeah.
lights on the stop. That's a good one.
Yeah, I really like I remember I was walking alone at night one time and I almost got hit by a car.
Oh.
I had right of way. I definitely had right of way. I would
Yeah.
have won that lawsuit, but
Okay, that's real. Yeah, I like those answers. One time we had really little kids on the podcast, and I was like, if you guys were mayor for the day, what would you do? And the kids were like, no school. And I'm like, okay. Or they're like, no homework. And one of them said I think all of our parents should do our homework or something. It was very cute. So anyway, that was a good start. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a question. So
Okay.
would you rather speak all languages or know how to play all instruments? Which one?
Speak all languages.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I really want to travel in the future. So I think speaking all languages would be really helpful. Also, I've actually thought about this question before. In my head, speaking all languages includes being able to speak to animals because they have their own language, right?
Okay.
So that one.
Interesting turn.
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
fair. That's
okay.
fair enough. That's
Yeah.
creative. That's creative. I like that.
Like
I'd actually have to go against you on that one. I'd actually want to play all instruments because I'm thinking about money, specifically
Really?
money-wise, okay? I'd have more job opportunities as a musician instead of a great linguist. And in my opinion, I'd rather be able to know how to play an instrument than speak I don't know, Norwegian or something.
Yeah.
My current career plan is to be a vet, but I don't want to be a household vet. I want to be one that works in wildlife reserves or stuff like that.
Okay,
That's
the
cool.
exotic animals.
Yeah, so being able to travel and being able to speak to a lot of different people would really help with that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Good ideas. Okay, so last little get to know you question. If you could swap lives with someone for one day, who would you want to swap lives with?
Elon Musk.
Oh, that was like you. Like I did not. They did not know they were hitting S10. They did not know they were hitting S10. He like had that ready. Why? Like elaborate.
Because he's rich.
Okay, you just want to be rich. Okay, but you only get to be rich for one day.
I did think that far. I thought about like SpaceX and everything, and like
Okay.
I want like I never actually like. It's far too late to switch into aerospace engineering, but I always thought about it. I really enjoy like seeing SpaceX and all of their endeavors. Starlink was really something to look at. But yeah, I want to be Elon Musk. He's
Okay.
greatest
Why do you
mind.
think it's too late to switch? Like to do
I'm a
that?
sophomore. Like
You can do that.
You have
can
so
do
much
that.
time.
No,
I
you
do?
can do
You
that.
have so much
Yes.
time.
Yes. I had a friend in college who was like doing, I don't know, something very random, but now he's an aerospace engineer.
wow,
Like he went back, got his master's in that, and now he works
Yeah.
at NASA. So
that's fair enough.
I mean, he didn't even start till post college. So
Fair enough.
I think you could do that.
I
I think you should.
That's fair enough. I should.
If I see you one
Yeah.
day as an aerospace engineer, I'm gonna be like, oh, that's because of me.
Yeah, just run the tape
Fuck
back.
it.
Just run the tape
No,
back.
honest, if you're like the next Elon, I'm gonna be like, guys, like
That
don't
was
forget
me.
me.
That was
yeah,
me.
exactly. Okay, what about you?
I don't actually know. I'm not really big on like celebrities or anything, so I'm not too sure.
I want to jump into the real questions now and just say, obviously, you're the president of Kiwanis and you're the president of Key Club. So can you guys talk a little bit about what do those organizations do? How do you guys work like closely together? And sort of like what is the mission, I guess, of these organizations?
So fundamentally, both Kiwanis and Key Club are both community service clubs for outreaching to not only the youth, but also like the adult population, the children, the younger youth population of Eastvale, just to encourage like more community activism, more like community involvement in things like keeping our city clean, keeping our city active, and keeping our city safe.
So Kiwanis is more of like, I guess, the adult aspect of it, and then Key Club is made to get the youth involved, especially high schoolers, since we are a high school club. We mainly try to promote service, obviously, but also leadership. We are a completely student-led organization. So Kiwanis will like sponsor our events sometimes, but everything is hosted and organized by us students as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also too, obviously you guys are at like so many events all the
Yeah.
time. You work at all of our city events.
Yeah.
I know you guys go to like expos and like you're just doing a million things. So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about like maybe some specific things you guys are doing in the day to day?
Ooh, and the day to day, mostly it's logistics before events. We have to make sure like we have to communicate with the city, make sure like our volunteers are free, make sure the schedule is okay, and make sure like any complaints like are flowed through or like any like make sure communication's good. Like this takes like weeks prior before events, just to make sure all the logistics are set up and our volunteers know where we're going, just so that like on actual event day there's less hiccups. It all runs smoother.
Yeah.
Yeah. For our club, we have an officer board, so all of the responsibilities are split. But for me personally, I take care of the communications aspect and then mostly just organizing our events and then like pushing it out to our members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I know that we appreciate you guys being at like events to help us, and there's so like I remember the early days of the events when like, oh my goodness, when like we would be there like setting up, cleaning up.
Yeah.
It's like 1 a.m. We have to go to work in the morning. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But then now, like since we've had you guys like join, there's so many groups that like come help us clean up. But now it's like the event ends at like 9:30. We're like wrapping it up, cleaning up, getting out of there. And I'm so thankful because literally like I remember Eastvale a few years ago.
Yeah.
I'm here at 1 a.m. like taking down clowns. I'm like, oh my goodness. And then going to work like the next morning was like so brutal. But
Yeah.
I'm just like, I know that all of us like appreciate it so much. So
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you guys because everyone I've met at the high school I feel like is so, I don't know, you guys are just like built different. Like you are built different than me. Like when I was in high school I was not built like that because you guys are in like every club, you like play every sport, you all speak like 7 languages and like play instruments and you guys just like have it all going on. So how do you balance like your extracurriculars and like your school and all these things that you're doing? Like how have you learned to balance all of these things and like still thrive?
This is actually a really good question. I feel like the aspect of being like a student, like everything basically, a student leader, a student athlete, a student like speaker, all of them have like the word student beforehand. And I think it's really important to note that like being a student should probably come first. And being able to balance like extracurricular for school life is like, the balance is really difficult to find at first, but being able to balance it, like, I think the first step is making priorities. And like the first step is like not to postpone thinking about it because eventually it'll catch up to you. It'll catch up to you. It'll catch up to you hard. But I think the first step is to number 1, start, and number 2, prioritize.
That's good. That's helpful.
I think personally, so my year in specific is kind of cracked. Like I have so many friends that are just doing so many insane things that you do kind of feel that pressure to like, oh, everyone else is doing like so many things. I need to keep up. I need to do this and I need to do that. But I think what's really important is figuring out what is important to you personally, like what you want to prioritize. So for me, I always tend to put Key Club and then also school before any of my other extracurriculars. Because I think it's better to do like a few things really well than feel like, oh, I need to be everywhere at once and then just do everything like subpar.
That's really good advice, actually. But if you find something that like you love more than school, I'd argue like put that before school. Put like something you'd rather do over school like ahead of it. Like I was doing this research project at school. Like we're making a new machine learning model to detect pancreatic cancer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Felt different than me.
I've been neglecting schoolwork and just to work on the project, and I do it every single time. I definitely think it's worth working on, and I'd be willing to, have lower grades just to work on it more.
I like that, honestly. I feel like that's good because I remember in high school I was like in all these clubs, like, you're trying to do school, you're like playing sports. And I feel like I was that person who was like trying to do everything instead of like just trying to be good at some things. And then when I got to college, I was like, okay, I really need to step back and think, what do I actually like? Like, what do I care about? And not just what can I do as a flex, And I feel like that was really good for me. So I'm glad you guys are like learning that already. Yeah. So, okay. Next question I want to ask you guys is about, like, obviously high school is really hard, like there's a lot going on, and I think people minimize kind of how hard it can be because it's like, this is the hardest thing you've done at this point of your life. Obviously, if you're like, I don't know, doing something else crazy like way later in life, but at this point of your life, this is the hardest thing you've done. Definitely. So can you talk about some, like, what are some really significant lessons you have learned in high school so far?
The biggest, you got it.
Okay. I know this kind of sounds really cliche, but honestly for me, I think one of the biggest things was learning that it's okay to make mistakes. Because when I got into high school, I was such a perfectionist that like anytime even the smallest thing went wrong, I would get so frustrated. But now after having like been through so much in high school and like having to deal with hard tests or bad grades or like organizing events, I've learned that something will always go wrong. So rather than getting upset, it's a lot more beneficial to just kind of work through it, especially when you realize that like most of the time there's just a bunch of people around you that are willing to help out.
Yeah, that's so good. Great advice. Great lessons.
I think if I had like, if everything I've ever done in high school came down to one thing, it'd be to demonstrate that like talent is ambiguous. Like you don't need to be talented in order to do good at school. Like I'm not particularly smart. I'm not particularly like gifted, but I want to do my best to prove that like extraordinary things can come from anywhere. You can make the jump from ordinary to extraordinary as long as you put in the work. There's not like there's nothing preventing you from doing it. It's not some magical barrier you can't cross because it is doable. And if anything, I'd want to prove that by the time I get out of high school.
Yeah, so inspirational.
No, I know. But honestly, no, that's so good. And we were just talking about this like while we weren't filming, like before we turned on the camera, because like I was saying that when I was in high school, I wasn't like naturally smart. I didn't. Some people just like pick everything up so easy. Like they just like they see it, they learn it, they know it. Like they don't need to study, they don't need to like go to class, and they're still getting A's on the test. And like that wasn't me, but I think when you learn to work hard and you put in the work, like, that like really cheesy quote, like, oh, work hard beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, something like that. It's like cheesy, but it's true. Like, it is really true. Like, you can be really smart, like the smartest person in the room, but, if you're wasting your potential because you're not trying, like, that's not going to get you far. So, I think that's good advice. Anything else that you have learned in high school that you feel like has been really significant for you?
I'd honestly say get involved. Like, get involved. Take any opportunity you can. Like, I know people are always stressing, like, oh, you need to do really good in high school because that's how you're going to get into college and how you're going to further your career. But honestly, it is so important to get out there and put yourself out there. Join clubs, like, join events in your community just to make sure, like, so that you experience the world more, because the world is so much more than high school. So it's... getting involved.
Yes, I'm going to title this episode, The World is More Than High School. Like, the world is so much more than high school because that's so true. And people, like, want to be the cool person in high school. Like, they want to be, like, the cool one. But, like, as soon as you walk across the stage, like, you get that diploma, like, it doesn't matter anymore that you're the cool person. Like, that doesn't matter outside. Yeah. So I'm going to title the podcast, The World is More Than High School.
I think the second thing biggest thing I would have, like, learned or like would share about high school would be like devour your nice things. Like don't postpone like using nice things. Like if you want to like if you don't be afraid to like do things nice for yourself. Like if you want to spend money, go spend it. You're not gonna be able to like spend it at a later time. You're gonna be like I remember I wanted to go on this medical conference in like Massachusetts, and like I never went because I was worried about like spending, but I regret it so much because if I went, like who knows what could have happened. Like it would have been like maybe it could have been like the best chapter of my life. Like, but I just sold it for something material. Like if you have something nice, you should probably use it, and don't wait until it passes.
Yeah. I like that. You heard it here first. Like, spend all your money.
Do not spend all your money.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, bad analogy.
I'm just kidding. But I do like that advice. I think it's good. Like, take the moment while you have it. So those are great things. So, I mean, kind of jumping off of you talking about the importance of getting involved, I want to ask you guys, because you are so involved in the community, like, what role do you think young people should play in their community? Like, again, you guys are involved. So how do you think... Like, what would you say to people who are like, should I get involved? Or people who aren't involved? Like, what would you say to them as encouragement or maybe advice about getting into the community more?
If you're scared of it, like, just do it at that point. Like, what could you, like, there's nothing, like, to be scared of. I know there's, like, I don't even know if there's a stigma behind community service or, like, if it's, like, really even difficult to break in. But, like, if it's, like, there's really only, like, 2 reasons people don't, like, get more involved in their community, or like really 3. Either they like don't want to initially, they're scared of it, or they don't know how to. And I feel like all of those are easily amendable if, like, again, the work we're doing, like outreach to the youth of the community to get more involved with the community. I think that's really important, being able to like the role of people in our community is like really important, and being able to like provide the opportunity in order to break into those like being more involved in the community. I think that's like first and foremost, like again, our job as like government officials, our job as like the youth of this community. I think that's fundamentally what we have to do.
I think for a lot of people, what stops them is when you think of like, serving the community. I think for a lot of people, they just think, I need to do something big. Like, I need to do something super impactful. But like, it really isn't all that difficult. Even small things matter, like just coming to one of our monthly street cleanups or going to volunteer at a city event. Like, all of that stuff counts as serving the community. It doesn't have to like impact the entire community. Just like, as long as you're helping a few people out, I think that's all that really matters.
Yeah. I feel like this episode is so like inspirational. But I think that is good, because I remember when I was like wanting to work in like the government and stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna get in the government, I'm gonna get every single person to vote, I'm gonna like change the city, I'm gonna change the universe. And it's like, of course you always want to change the world, and like you want to make an impact in the world. But I've learned that just doing simple things, like even if I come to work, like I do the communication for the city, like even if one single person is like a little more informed today than yesterday, like they know a little bit more about the government, or they know about one specific resource, like then I have done my job, and that's helpful. Like even if, one like business finds a resource, another business can stay afloat, like because of some type of outreach, like, I think that's a win. That's like what it's about. And you don't need to be in every single club or do every single thing or clean up the whole universe. Like, you just pick up you do your street cleanup, and like that's doing a lot.
I think I like the fact that you mentioned like even just helping out one person, because I remember this one time I was volunteering at a city event, and then like this lost kid came up to me and he was just sobbing, and I honestly, I was a junior at the time, so I did not know what to do. But in the end, like we helped him find his family, and I think seeing like how happy he became, I was just like, I think seeing that physical representation of, what I'm doing is actually, it's benefiting someone. I think, that was really nice.
I think that's sweet. And also, I feel like I need to talk about this while we're on the podcast, because every event, there's lost kids.
Yeah.
Every event, like people turn in their kids, or like kids come up to the info booth, they're like, I lost my parents. And I'm like, there is like 10,000 people here. Yeah. Why are you guys losing your kids here? Every event happens. It never fails. Like, every time you have people turn in lost credit cards, someone turned in a wedding ring last time, and none of this stuff is ever like claimed, because I think people just assume it's like gone. But if you lost your credit card at any event, like give me a call, because I probably still have it. But I don't know, like I just feel like people lose their stuff a lot.
Did they get their wedding ring back?
No, it's still sitting in my desk. Like, don't worry, I'm not gonna like pawn it or something. But we have like a whole lost and found bin from like the last 3 years that we've done events. Like I have this whole bin of like wallets. With like IDs in there. There's like credit cards, wedding rings. Like kids are not in the bin, but they do get lost every event. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys.
I think I had a member who lost their jacket at a city event, and they tried to find it, but I don't think they ever got it back.
They need to come to the info booth.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would have a jacket. I probably would have thrown that away. I don't know. But like cards and stuff. But I'm like, people probably just are like, dang, I lost it, and they turn it off. Yeah. So, but I'm like, if you lost your wedding ring in an event, like give me a call because I still have it. I'm not going to throw it away. So I want to talk to you guys now. We prefaced this at the beginning. You have a very big event coming up. I don't know if you'd say it's your biggest event of the year.
Definitely biggest event of the year.
Okay.
If it's not, I'll make it the biggest event of the year.
Okay, he's making it the biggest event. Okay, so your biggest event of the day, Earth Day cleanup. Can you guys talk about what is the Earth Day cleanup? Who's invited? What's the situation? Like, tell us all the details.
Earth Day cleanup. We aim for, again, it's Earth Day. We have to make it like the most successful cleanup. Well, we don't have to. We're not stressed to make it the most successful cleanup because like typically it is. But the goal is just to like contribute to our city, make it cleaner than it ever has been. And as for who's invited, like everyone's welcome to come. Like there's no like closed invitation to participate at Earth Day, but the major organizations participating, again, JCSD, City of Eastvale, Eastvale Kiwanis, Key Club, bunch of other different school organizations. We're hoping to we're like on the note of like increasing activity within the youth for the community. We want to like make this more catered to the school. Like we want to increase awareness with the school, like get more sports team involved, get more school clubs involved. Like we'd reach out to a lot more school clubs, and I definitely think like if I have my one goal as like the first Earth Day cleanup I'm on is to make it more of a school thing, more of a youth activity.
I like that.
I helped plan Earth Day cleanup last year too, and you can honestly just think of it as a large scale version of our monthly cleanups. And yeah, as Derek said, pretty much everyone is invited. I am reaching out to the elementary schools because I'm trying to get even the little kids involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, if any organization or anyone is like interested in having more information, feel free to contact me. I am currently reaching out to all the organizations in our city that I can, just to try to make sure the turnout is as large as we hope.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would say a few things. One, I remember, I think the first Earth Day cleanup I was helping with was maybe like 3 years ago. And I remember like there was a good turnout for sure, like maybe like 100 people, something like that. But now, like last year there was like 400 people there or something. It's gone so big. And it's cool to see like, because it's such an important event. Like keep your city clean, take care of your city. And when we like all band together for just one afternoon, like not even afternoon, it's just like a few hours. It's like we clean this whole city. We pick up so many pounds of trash. Like I don't know. Do you guys know exact numbers? I don't remember anything.
I don't.
But it's
I only know in like bags.
Yeah. How many bags was it?
Probably like more than 40. Honestly,
Oh, I think it was a lot more than that. I don't know, but it was definitely a lot. But it's just cool to see that it's like growing, and so I would definitely encourage everyone in the community to come out. If you're a group, if you're a family, if you're anybody. But then also the Adopt a Roadway program. Like you guys are so good at cleaning the roadway, which I appreciate because I run the roadway program, so that's like my baby. But I just love that program because it's such a simple way to give back to the community, to take care of the city that you live in. It doesn't require like all this time and energy and money, and it's like you go out there once every other month and you clean up for a few hours, and the city looks gorgeous because people take good care of it. And if we didn't have people doing that, like it definitely wouldn't look as good as it does. So
Key Club definitely does a good job with like their monthly cleanups. Like they're definitely one of like the highest contributors at the monthly cleanups. And like again, you mentioned that like first Earth Day cleanup we had 100 people. We hit that like every weekend now. It's like really amazing.
That's so good.
I think it's so starting from last year, Mr. Rife, who is the current president of Kiwanis, he was really trying to get like the students more involved in the actual organization process of it. So starting last year, he made like us officers be in charge of like all of the communicating with the organizations, reaching out, promoting, stuff like that. So I think it's just it's a really good opportunity to just get to know more about the community, like, and how to organize something or an event this big.
Yeah. Well, I know Kiwanis and Key Club are both like completely youth led.
Yeah.
George, like, he loves to talk about that for good reason, like, because it's such a cool aspect. Because you don't really see that. So I don't know. Do you guys want to touch a little bit on like what does youth led mean? Like, what are you guys doing? Are you doing the money? Are you doing the organization? Are you doing like?
If Mr. Rife says youth led, then like it's youth led. Like I literally mean that in the sense that like if it doesn't require like adult legal documents or like being above 18, like he'll delegate it to the children. Like to like the youth of our club, and I think that's like really inspiring. Like our youth leadership team was like a recent thing that Mr. Reif instated himself, and like it has like the youth counterpart for every single like adult officer that there is, like treasurer, president, well obviously president, but yeah, there's a youth counterpart for everyone, and I think that's again on the note of like increasing opportunity to like break into being more active in the community. I think Mr. Reif really does that job for the youth in our community. Like I've become like so much more like confident, so much more like of a greater like I was really bad at public speaking before. If Mr. Reif didn't allow me the chance to like speak at so many conferences, speak at so many meetings, I definitely think Eastvale Kiwanis has like provided me the opportunity to like become a better student, become a better person, and become a better youth leader.
That's so sweet. I'm sure people will like be so excited to hear that. But I mean, I think that's the importance of being involved in your community, because it really does make you like a more well-rounded person instead of like, I think in school, obviously, it's like about you and you're trying to get your good grades and like whatever. But when you give back to the community, that shows that you like, you know that there's like a life outside of yourself. Like the world doesn't revolve around you. Like there's life after high school. Like there's so much stuff out in the world that like, it's not about you almost. And when you do community service, you're like showing I can care about something outside of myself. So I'm glad that you guys have had this experience, and I'm glad you guys came on the podcast too to like be able to talk about it.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah,
thank you.
Of course. I'm so glad you guys are here. So I know we're kind of wrapping up soon, but do you guys have anything else that you want to talk about, share? You got like the whole world here. I know everyone in the universe is like tuning in. So do you have anything to share or say?
Stay in school.
Join Key Club.
Join Key Club, stay in school, spend all your money.
Spend all your money.
Yeah. It doesn't even need to be Roosevelt Key Club. We have Key Clubs pretty much in everywhere. All of the high schools in our district. Key Club is an international thing. Okay. So, yeah, I doubt anyone outside of the city of Eastvale is watching this. But even if you are, find a Key Club near you. If you're a high schooler, it's a high school thing.
Okay. Also, I don't know if it's like world, if Key Club is all around the world or anything, but we actually have people. We can see like our stats. We have people listen to the podcast from Mexico, Guatemala, Germany, and I think Canada also. So.
Eastvale International.
I know. We are like world renowned, but it's not like as big percentages, but it's like 1%, like simple things like that. But still, like
if you happen to be a high schooler in Guatemala, find a Key Club.
Join Key Club. Yeah, if you're in Germany right now, like
check
it out.
Key Clubs there.
There's Key Clubs there, so check it out. Like wherever you are in the world, we've got Key Club. But anyway, anything else you guys want to share?
Come to the street cleanup on Earth Day.
Yes. Oh, do you want to say? Okay, we should have said this. What day is the cleanup, and like where is it?
Oh, okay.
April 20th, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. So the Earth Day cleanup is on April 20th at 9 a.m. It will probably last for like 2 hours. The main meeting location is Harada Park, because that's where food will be handed out at the end of the cleanup. But if you're part of a certain organization, I am currently reaching out to everyone and delegating actual roadway segments to everyone. So your like each person or each group's specific meeting location might be different. But if you're just like someone who wants to come help out and you're not affiliated with the group, Harada Park is where you should go.
At 9.
Yep, 9 a.m.
You'll get some food, you'll get some service hours, you'll get to see us.
You get to help your city out.
Oh, everything is provided. So trash bags, gloves, all of that. So you don't even need to bring anything. Just bring yourself and 2 hours of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Thank you to JCSD and the city of Eastvale for like making this possible.
Yes.
This would not be possible without their support.
Yes.
And like even our like monthly street cleanups, like we need the support of the city. And I think it's like the relationship between like the Eastvale city government and like the actual community, never seen it before in any other city. Like definitely one of the strongest we've ever seen.
True. I have worked at other cities, and that is true. So anyway, well, thank you both so much for coming on the podcast. I had so much fun.
Yes.
I appreciate it a lot. I know, you guys are very busy, so I appreciate like these like celebrities like coming on the podcast. So thank you. And when you guys become doctors or something, like please be my doctors. So.
Hopefully.
Anyway, all right. Well, thank you everybody. We'll say bye, and please keep watching the podcast. So bye everyone. Thanks.
All right, bye.